Dear students, welcome all of you to the National Enrichment Program in Mathematics organized by the Department of Mathematics, Sacred Heart College, Chalakudi. I am Dr. Nidin TJ, an assistant professor in the Department of Mathematics, Sacred Heart College, Chalakudi. Examples makes us to understand the concepts very thoroughly. In this talk, I will discuss about examples related to continuity and differentiability. Geometrically, a function on an interval is continuous if its graph can be drawn without lifting the pen, and is differentiable if it can be drawn smoothly. In the end of this talk, we will construct a function which is continuous everywhere and differentiable nowhere.
Consider these graphs of the functions. The first one, it is clear that it is a graph of a step function, and the graph is have breaks. So this is an example for a discontinuous function. And the second one, there are no breaks on the graph. So if we start from here, you can move to any points of the graph, so without any break. So this is an example for a continuous function. And if you look at this at CF of C, there is a corner in the graph, so the graph is not smooth at C. So this function is an example for a non-differentiable function. Since at C it is not differentiable, it is not smooth. And the third example, so in the third graph it is a smooth curve, so it is both differentiable and continuous. And this function, so this at C it has a cusp, so this graph have no break, so it is an example for a continuous function. But at C there is a cusp, so this function is not differentiable at C, so it is an example for a non-differentiable function. And the last one, at C there is a jump, so it is going along this straight line, then from here you have to jump to reach this point f of C, cf of C. So this function is not continuous at C, so this is not differentiable as well. So if we have graph, then it is easy to say that whether the function is continuous or differentiable, but in general it is not easy to draw the graph of a function. So we have to go for the we have to give a formal definition for continuity and differentiability. We start with the definition of limit of a function. We say that limit of f of x as x approaches a point A if there exists a real number L such that for every epsilon greater than 0 there is a delta greater than 0 such that mod f of x minus L less than epsilon whenever 0 less than mod x minus a less than delta. So this is the deleted neighborhood of A, and we denote this by limit extending to A f of x equal to L. So some examples. So note that if the function f of x is x square, so it is easy to show that limit extending to 2 x square is 4. And note that limit extending to 0 1 by x does not exist. So for this one, if x approaching the 0 from the positive side, 1 by x going to infinity, and from the left of 0 is going to minus infinity. In any case it does not exist. And the another example, function f of x is x sin 1 by x, where this sin 1 by x is bounded function and multiplying by x. So as x tending to 0, this will be tending to 0. So limit is 0. In the another example, sin 1 by x. So as x tending to 0, 1 by x tending to either plus infinity or minus infinity, or oscillating between minus infinity to infinity. So sine 1 by x will be oscillating between minus 1 and 1 as x tending to 0. So this limit does not exist. Next, consider this example f of x. At 1 it is 2 and all other point it takes the value 1. Then as x tending to 1, f of x will be, that value will be tending to 1. So note that in the definition of limit we consider the deleted neighborhood of a. So here we have to consider the deleted neighborhood of 1. So at all other points value of f of x is 1. So limit is 1. And here in this example note that this limit is not equal to the function value at 1. So this limit is not equal to f of 1. So if that property holds, that is if limit x tending to a f of x equal to f of a, then we say that f is continuous at a. That is the definition of continuity. So this is the definition of continuity. If limit x tending to a f of x equal to f of a, we say that f is continuous at a, and we say that f is continuous on a set if f is continuous at each point in that set. There is another definition of continuity, this epsilon delta definition. So we say f is continuous at a point x if for every epsilon greater than 0 there is a delta x epsilon. So here this notation x delta depending on both x and epsilon. It might depend on x and epsilon, delta x epsilon greater than 0 such that this condition holds. That is mod f of x minus f of y less than epsilon whenever mod x minus y less than delta x epsilon. So we know the most of the functions that we know are continuous. For example, the identity functions, constant functions, sin x, cos x, e raised to x, polynomials, all those functions are continuous. And so here we give some special examples. The first one is, our question is, does there exist a function which is continuous only at one point? So this is the question. So in the continuity we define point wise. So the straightforward question is there a function which is continuous only at a single point? So answer is yes. Now this is an example. Consider the function f of x equal to mod x if x is rational and 0 otherwise. So its graph looks like this one. So here the graph is dotted, that is at any point rational it is taking this modulus value. At all other points, that is irrational points, it taking the value 0. So it is in the mod x in the line this one and oscillating between 0 and this one. So if you take any non-zero point x here, it's in the neighborhood there are rational and irrational numbers, so it will be vary between this portion and 0. So at any point, any non-zero point, the function is not continuous. Whereas at x equal to 0, this limit will be, one can show that this limit will be equal to 0. So that is f is continuous at 0. So we give a proof for this function using the epsilon delta definition. So note that for x not equal to 0, we can take epsilon belong to this interval, that is open interval 0 to mod x by 2. Then if we take this epsilon, then there are no positive number satisfying the continuity criterion. So one can easily show this one. So at all non-zero points, function is discontinuous. So now to show that f is continuous at x equal to 0. So take x equal to 0. So to show that this is f is continuous at x equal to 0, we have to take an arbitrary epsilon greater than 0. So we take epsilon greater than 0 and we have to obtain a delta greater than 0. So in this case we are taking that delta as epsilon itself. Then for y belong to R with mod x minus y less than delta. Here x is 0, so mod x minus y less than delta means mod y less than delta. Since delta is epsilon, we have mod y less than epsilon. Then modulus of f of 0 minus f of y. Since the value of f of 0 is 0, this becomes mod f of y, and by the definition f of y is mod y if y is rational and 0 otherwise. So this will be this function, and mod y is less than epsilon and 0 anyway less than epsilon. So this whole quantity will be less than epsilon. That is, if y belong to R such that mod x minus y less than delta, then mod f of 0 minus f of y less than epsilon. That is, f is continuous at x equal to 0. So another question is, does there exist a function which is nowhere continuous? Okay, so this is like how to think of a function which nowhere continuous. So you cannot draw a graph. So that is, you can't even, if we start drawing a graph, so we stuck at one point, so we cannot move. So is there a function? That is the question, and the answer is yes. And one example is Dirichlet function, which is defined as f of x equal to 1 if x is rational and 0 otherwise. So the graph looks like this one. In the dotted line it is at x equal to 1. Here it is 1. Y value is 1. Here at any point in any neighborhood the function values varies between 0 and 1. It is 0 and 1. So this function is discontinuous at every point, that is not continuous at every point. So this function is a example for a function which is nowhere continuous. Okay, now we consider some basic examples of continuous functions using the epsilon delta definition. So this one, f from R to R given by f of x equal to 1, that is the constant function 1, whether this is continuous. So our idea, we need for distinct points x and y mod f of x minus f of y. So here mod f of x minus f of y becomes 0. So we can take, for epsilon greater than 0, we can take any positive number delta that will satisfy the continuity criterion. So this function is continuous. And next consider the case identity function f of x equal to x. Here f of x minus f of y becomes x minus y. So whatever the value of epsilon, we choose delta is less than that epsilon. So that will work. So choose delta between 0 and epsilon. So then the continuity criterion will satisfy. So f is continuous on R. Another example is f of x equal to x square. So this we can show by, so using that definition there are some theorems. Product of two continuous functions is continuous. So here f of x is x. So here this function we can write as a product of x and x. So this becomes continuous. So in the examples, just note that in the first two examples, this delta doesn't depending on x. The first one, it doesn't depending on both x and epsilon. The second one, it depending on epsilon, but it doesn't depending on the x point x. So this is a special class of functions, so such that for epsilon in the continuity criterion, for epsilon greater than 0, that delta depending only on the epsilon. It doesn't depending on the points x. So to classify those functions, we give another definition, or we classify those functions using the same format, that is those delta depending only on epsilon. So we classify those as uniform continuous functions. That is, we say a function f is uniform continuous on A if for every epsilon greater than 0 there is a delta epsilon greater than 0, such that for every xy belong to A, mod f of x minus mod f of y less than epsilon whenever x minus y less than delta epsilon. That is, in the continuity criterion, if that delta depending only on epsilon, we say that that function is uniform continuous function. So question is there a continuous function which is not uniformly continuous? So example is our f of x equal to x square. This function, this is an example for a continuous function which is not uniformly continuous. Okay, so we will prove that this is, our question is, for an epsilon greater than 0, is it possible to obtain a delta greater than 0 such that mod x minus y less than delta implies mod x square minus y square less than epsilon. That is, whether this is uniform continuous. That is the question. So for that, we take epsilon equal to 1 and we assume that such a delta exists. So for x belong to R, choose y equal to x plus delta by 2. So mod x minus y becomes delta by 2. So mod x minus y will be x minus delta by 2 will get cancelled. It will be delta by 2, which is less than delta. Then by our assumption, so we will get mod x square minus x plus delta by 2 whole square, that is y square, less than 1. So on simplifying, we get mod x delta plus delta square by 4 less than 1 for each real number x. So this is a contradiction. So we assume that such a delta exists and we get this one. So this inequality will not hold for large number of, for large value of x. So this is a contradiction. So that means this kind of delta doesn't exist. That is, in the epsilon delta definition, this delta depending both x and epsilon. So this function, that is f of x equal to x square on R, is an example for a continuous function which is not uniformly continuous. And the properties of uniform continuous functions are: every uniform continuous function is continuous, and for the converse, every continuous function on a closed and bounded interval is uniformly continuous. So this is a theorem. I am not proving those theorems, I will just state here those results. So using this portion, so in the last example we have seen that x square on the real line is not uniformly continuous, but if we restrict the domain x square on closed interval some AB, closed and bounded intervals AB, that will be uniformly continuous. So another class of functions which is differentiable function. So to define f from A to R, A is an interval, x an interior point of A, we say that f is differentiable at x if this limit exists. That is, limit h tends to 0, f of x plus h minus f of x upon h exists. If this limit exists, we say f is differentiable at x and denoted by f prime x. Again, differentiability we define using pointwisely. For a point, we say that it is differentiable, and we say f is differentiable on its domain if it is differentiable at every point on the domain. And there is another result. This one I am just stating, I will not prove. Every differentiable function is continuous. So the two subclass of continuous functions, one is uniform continuous functions and another one is differentiable functions. So now just look into the geometrical meaning of derivative of a function. Before going to discuss the geometrical meaning of a derivative of a function, let's recall the slope of a line. If two distinct points pair x1, y1 and x2, y2 of the line are given, then the slope of the line is defined as y2 minus y1 upon x2 minus x1. And if you have a point and a slope of the line, then we can write the equation of the line. So for example, if x1, y1 is a point on the line with slope m, then the equation of the line is y minus y1 equal to m into x minus x1. Now recall the definition of differentiability. We consider the function f and x0 belongs to open interval a b. We say f is differentiable at x0 if this limit exists. And just note this fraction and the denominator of this fraction h. So we can rewrite this h as x0 plus h minus x0. So then this fraction becomes the slope of the line passing through the points. First point x0 f x0 and the second point x0 plus h comma f of x0 plus h. So this fraction is a slope of the chord joining x0 f x0 and the point x0 plus h f of x0 plus h. So you can draw this one x0 here and take x0 plus h1. Then we consider these 2 points x0 f x0 and x0 plus h1 comma f of x0 plus h1. Consider the line joining and take its slope, and then another one, take point h here, x0 plus h here, draw the line joining, that is the chord joining, take the slope, then h here, approximate h so that x0 plus h will be tending to x0. Then consider the what about these slopes. So this is the slope. For this one, this is the slope f of x0 plus h1 minus f of x0 divided by h1, and for this one h2. So h2 we are approximating to x0, then this slope of this line becomes this one f of x0 plus h2 minus f of x0 divided by h2. So these chords will be approximated to tangent line. So all these chords becomes as h tends to 0, x0 plus h2 h tends to x0, and these chords will be tending to the tangent line at x0 f x0. And if this limit exists, means that limit is nothing but the slope of the tangent line. So f prime x0, that is for a point x0, its derivative by derivative f prime x0 is nothing but the slope of the tangent line passing through x0 f x0. So this is the geometrical meaning of derivative of a function. We have seen the geometrical meaning of a derivative of a function. Now come back to our example session. So now we have two sub-collection of continuous functions. One is uniformly continuous functions and another collection is collection of differentiable functions. Both these collections are subset of all continuous functions. So the question is whether one of them subset of another, and here we have two examples which shows that neither of them subset of the other. So first we consider the function f from open interval -1 to -1 1 to r given by f of x equal to mod x. So this function is uniformly continuous on -1 1 but not differentiable on -1 1. So we can take closed interval as well. So why this is uniformly continuous on open interval -1 1? So we have seen that a continuous function on a closed and bounded interval is uniformly continuous. So using that, f from closed interval -1 to 1 becomes uniformly continuous. And if a function is uniformly continuous on a larger set, it is uniformly continuous on its subset. So using that, this function f is uniformly continuous on open interval -1 1, but this function at x equal to 0 is not differentiable. So this function is an example for a uniformly continuous function which is not differentiable. Now another one is an example for a differentiable function but which is not uniformly continuous. That is the f of x equal to x square on the real line. So we have seen that this is not uniformly continuous, and it is clear that it is differentiable and derivative is 2x. So as in the case of continuity, so we ask some questions: is there a function which is differentiable only at one point? And another question we have asked is that is there a function which is nowhere differentiable? So here if function is differentiable, it has to be continuous. If it is not continuous, means that is not differentiable. So the question of nowhere differentiable function is same as we have an example for a nowhere continuous function, that is Dirichlet function. So that will work for nowhere differentiable function. So we modify our question in such a way that is there a continuous function which is nowhere differentiable? So these are the questions that we will see, and also we will see one example which shows that function is differentiable and the derivative function is not continuous. So those examples we will see. So in the final part we will construct a function which is continuous everywhere and nowhere differentiable. So the first question: does there exist a function which is differentiable only at one point? So the answer is yes. The construction same as in the continuity case. So there we have used mod x. Here we take x square. So consider the function f of x square if x is rational and 0 otherwise. So that graph will be like this. So it is dotted one. So for x not equal to 0, it is clear that it is not continuous, so it is not differentiable. Only at 0 we have to verify. So by the definition, this f prime 0 exists if this limit exists, that is limit h tending to 0 f of 0 plus h minus f of 0 upon h exists. If this limit exists, we say f is differentiable at 0 and that limit is the derivative at 0, f prime 0. So note that this condition f of 0 plus h will be f of h and f at 0 is 0. So this fraction becomes f of h upon h, and f of h is h square if h is rational. So by h means h. So this fraction becomes h if h is rational, and if h is irrational, numerator is 0. 0 upon h is 0. So this becomes limit h tends to 0, h if h is rational, 0 otherwise, and taking the limit it will be equal to 0. So that is this limit exists So that means f prime 0 equal to 0. So f is differentiable at x equal to 0, and since f is not continuous on all other points, f is not differentiable. So this function is differentiable only at 0. This another example we give is that example for a function which is differentiable everywhere, but the derivative function is not continuous. So if we consider the examples like f of x equal to x square, the derivative is 2x, which is continuous, which is differentiable. If you consider sin x, it will be the derivative is cos x, and it is differentiable. So we have to give an example for a function whose derivative is not continuous. So it's an important example. So this is the example f of x defined as x square into sin 1 by x for x not equal to 0, and at x equal to 0 it is 0. So all for not x equal to 0, f of x will be a differentiable, and at x equal to 0 we have to verify. So note that limit h tends to 0 for the verification of 0. First we have to show that this is differentiable, and we have to obtain f prime, and we have to show that f prime is not continuous. So f prime 0, limit h tends to 0, f of 0 plus h minus f at 0 by h, f of 0 becomes 0, f of 0 plus h is nothing but f of h will be h square into sin 1 by h. So numerator is h square sin 1 by h upon h. This h and 1 of the square will get cancelled. So this will be equal to limit h tending to 0, h into sin 1 by h. As in the limit case, we will see that this limit is equal to 0. So that is f prime 0 equal to 0. So f is differentiable at 0, and for non-zero points, this x square is differentiable, sin 1 by x is differentiable using the product formula for derivative. F prime x will be derivative of the first function into second function, that is 2x into sin 1 by x plus first function into derivative of the second function, that is x square into cos 1 by x into derivative of 1 by x, that is minus 1 by x square. So this x square and this x square will get cancelled. This minus will be here. So f prime x is, for x not equal to 0, it will be 2x sin 1 by x minus cos 1 by x, and at x equal to 0 it is 0. So this function f is differentiable everywhere, and the derivative function is given by this one. So note that this function is not continuous at x equal to 0. So note that this function as x tending to 0, that limit, so this portion will become 0, and limit as x tending to 0 cos 1 by x. So this portion does not exist. That means f prime is not continuous at x equal to 0. So our final question: does there exist a function which is continuous everywhere and nowhere differentiable? So we will construct such a function, and for the construction we need some more ideas like uniform convergence of a sequence of functions. So we will just state the definitions and we will go to the constructions. Okay, so uniform convergence of functions. So uniform convergence of sequence of functions. Suppose a be any set and sequence fn be a sequence of real valued functions on A. We say that sequence fn converges uniformly on A if there is a function f from A to R such that for every epsilon greater than 0 there exists a natural number n such that for all x belong to A and all n greater than or equal to capital N, mod fn of x minus f of x less than epsilon. So this is just for the sake of giving definition I am giving, so this will not need in the construction, but we will use uniform convergence. So I am just giving the definition. And uniform convergence of series defined as this sum, a series summation k equal to 1 to infinity fk of x converges uniformly if the sequence of partial sums converges uniformly. So using the uniform convergence of sequence, we define the uniform convergence of series. And there's one theorem, the uniform limit of continuous functions is continuous. This theorem we will be using, so that we are not proving this theorems, but this result we will use in the construction. So that uniform limit of continuous functions is continuous. Okay, now for the construction of a nowhere differentiable continuous function. So that is for a continuous function and which is nowhere differentiable. Define the function phi from R set of all real number to real number such that phi of x equal to mod x on closed interval minus 1 to 1, and we extend this to all real line by periodically, that is phi of x plus 2 equal to phi of x. So the graph looks like this one. On minus 1 1 it is mod x, so it will be this portion open one. Then periodically we extend this to all real line. Properties of this function phi, which is 2 periodic and continuous. So this is by pasting lemma, this is continuous. And also mod phi of y minus phi of x less than or equal to mod y minus x. So here in this interval it is less than mod y minus x, then it is shifting. So this inequality will hold, that is mod phi of y minus phi of x less than or equal to mod y minus x. And as we discussed this one, if xy belong to R such that no integer lies between x and y, then x phi of x and y phi of y belongs to the same line segment in the graph of phi, and hence mod phi of y minus phi of x equal to mod y minus x. The last term by the last term using the slope of these lines. So what is the slope of these lines? So first one is on 0 to 1 it is this function, increasing function x. What is the slope? y1 minus y2, y equal to x, so y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1 is same as y1 is equal to x1, y2 equal to x2, so this will be equal to 1. And on the left of this one, minus 1 to 0, this slope of this line segment is minus 1. So phi of y minus phi of x upon y minus x is plus or minus 1. So if you take modulus it will be 1. So using the slope definition we have this one. That is, if x and y belong to R such that no integer lies between x and y, then this condition holds. So we use these three properties in the construction. Okay, so define a sequence of functions fn n equals 0 to infinity by fn of x equal to 3 by 4 all raised to n phi of 4 is to nx. So we construct phi, we define phi in such a way that this one, and using this phi we construct a sequence of functions phi n of x defined as 3 by 4 all raised to n phi of 4 is to nx. So f0x will be 3 by 4 raised to 0 it is 1, by 4 raised to 0 will be 0, 5 of x. So f0x is nothing but 5 of x. f1 of x will be 3 by 4, 5 of 4x, like that. The graph will be like this one. So the black one is f0, the red one is graph of f1. So on the this one closed one loop, in the new one there are 4 times, and f3 is again on each red closed one we have 4 type spikes. So first one spike, another one, this one like sawtooth. So increasing fn, f2, f3, f4, all this will be like sawtooth. And note that each fn is continuous, since phi is continuous, and here multiplying by a constant. So each fn is a continuous function on R. So from Weierstrass M-test, so it states that if sequence fn a sequence of functions, and suppose that for each n there is a constant mn greater than or equal to such that mod fn of x less than or equal to mn, that is fn bounded by mn and summation mn finite. If this summation mn finite, then the series sum, that is summation fn, converges uniformly on A. So Weierstrass M-test says that if there is sequence fn bounded by mn and if summation mn is finite, this series fn converges uniformly on A. So note that mod fn of x, here fn of x is this one, so mod fn of x will be equal to modulus of these functions, and mod phi of x is less than or equal to 1. So mod fn of x will be less than or equal to 3 by 4 whole is to n. So mod fn of x is less than or equal to 3 by 4 whole is to n, and summation n equal to 0 to infinity 3 by 4 whole is to n. So this quantity is finite. Then by Weierstrass M-test, this summation n equal to 0 to infinity fn converges uniformly on R. We take this limit as f of x. So we take f of x equal to summation fn, and where fn is these functions 3 by 4 whole is to n, phi of 4 is to nx. So f of x will be summation of this one, and f of x is the uniform limit of continuous functions, and being the uniform limit of continuous functions, we have f is continuous. So this function f is continuous on R, and we show that this function f is nowhere differentiable. Okay, so this function, we constructed such a function, and we show that we proved that this is continuous, and we will show that this is nowhere differentiable. So for that we take x in R, we have to show that it is not differentiable, that is to show that limit h tends to 0, f of x plus h minus f of x upon h does not exist. To show that this limit does not exist, it is enough to show that there is a sequence hm of real numbers such that hm tends to 0, and this sequence 1 by hm f of x plus hm minus f of x diverges. So it is enough to show this one. And now the construction of hm. So note that this interval 4 raised to mx, and in the neighborhood 4 raised to mx plus 1 by 2 and 4 raised to mx minus 1 by 2. So that length of this interval is 1. So it means upper limit is 4 raised to mx plus 1 by 2, lower limit is 4 raised to mx minus 1 by 2. So the distance is 1. So in this interval there is at most one integer lies between this interval. So either it might be on the boundary or inside this one, and if it is inside, it can be like on the portion of open interval 4 is to mx and 4 is to mx plus 1 by 2 might be here or other portion. If the integer lies on this interval, open interval 4 is to mx and 4 is to mx plus 1 by 2, if the integer belong to this portion, then we define hm equal to minus 1 by 2 4 is to minus m. Otherwise, we take hm as 1 by 2 4 is to minus m. So in general, hm is plus or minus 1 by 2 4 is to minus m. So only checking this portion, we take hm such that if we choose hm like this one, then there are no integer between 4 is to mx and 4 is to m into x plus hm. So if we choose hm such that this one, then there are no integer between 4 is to mx and 4 is to m into x plus hm. So if the integer is here, we choose hm equal to this one. So no integer here. So between 4 is to mx and this one, no integer. Otherwise, we choose 1 by 2 4 is to minus m. So that hm will be this portion. 4 is to mx plus hm will be this one. So no integer between 4 is to mx and 4 is to m into x plus hm. Then note that 1 upon hm f of x plus hm minus f of x. So by definition f is summation n equal to 0 to infinity 3 by 4 is to n phi of 4 is to n x plus hm. I'm substituting this one f of x here. So n plus 1th term of this summation is, say, denoted by alpha mn. It is 1 upon hm 3 by 4 is to n phi of 4 is to n x plus hm minus phi of 4 is to n x. This is the n plus 1th term, and we check the what are the possible n plus 1th terms. So for n greater than m is 1 n greater than m, then note that this point 4 is to n x plus hm will be 4 is to n x, hm is plus or minus 1 by 2 4 is to minus n. So it will be this one, and it will be like 4 is to n x plus or minus 1 by 2 4 is to n minus m. 4 is to n into 4 is to minus m. It will be 4 is to n minus m. If n greater than m, 4 is to n minus m is a multiple of 4. So 1 by 2 times this will be an even integer. So 4 is to n x plus an even integer. So since phi is a 2 periodic function, so phi of this time will be phi of 4nx. So their difference will be 0. Since alpha is 2 periodic, we get alpha mn equal to 0. So if n greater than m, then n plus 1th time alpha mn is 0. Then we have two more cases, that is n equal to m and n less than m. If n equal to m, then alpha mm will be 1 upon hm 3 by 4 is to m phi of 4 is to m this one. And in this case, modulus of alpha mm will be equal to modulus of this one. So here both these points lie on the same line segment. So modulus of 4 is to mx and 4 is to mx plus hm. So here by the choosing of hm, these 2 points, there are no points, there are no integer points lies between this one. So phi of this one, modulus of this will be equal to modulus of from this result. Where is the result? Okay, so here by this result, if x and y such that no integer lies between x and y, we have mod phi of y minus phi of x equal to mod y minus x. So here we choose hm such that 4 is to m into x plus hm and 4mx such that there are no integers between them. So modulus of this will be equal to modulus of difference of these functions, that is 4mx plus hm minus 4mx. So this will get cancelled. The remaining portion is modulus of 4m hm, and mod hm will get cancelled, 4m will get cancelled, remaining portion equal to 3 raised to m. So if n equal to m, alpha mm mod alpha mm will be 3 raised to m. If n less than m, in general mod phi of phi minus phi of x is less than or equal to mod phi minus x. So we get alpha mn less than or equal to 1 upon mod hm 3 by 4 raised to n into 4 raised to n upon hm. So their difference 4 raised to n into mod hm will get cancelled, 4 raised to n will get cancelled, only 3 raised to n remaining. Thus 1 upon modulus of 1 upon hm f of x plus hm minus f of x. By definition it is the summation n equal to 0 to infinity alpha mn, and for n greater than m, alpha mn is 0. So this sum will be equal to summation n equal to 0 to m alpha mn, and modulus of a plus b plus c greater than or equal to mod a minus mod b minus mod c. So using that identity we get this will be greater than or equal to mod alpha mm minus summation n equal to 0 to m minus 1 mod alpha mn, and mod alpha mm is nothing but 3 raised to m, and this portion here n is less than m, so it will be mod alpha mn less than 3n, so minus will be greater than. So this quantity will be greater than or equal to 3 raised to m minus summation n equal to 0 to m minus 1 3 raised to n 3 raised to m minus this 10. Summation of this one 1 minus this one. So this sum will be 1 by 2 3 raised to m plus 1. So 1 by hm of modulus of this value is 1 by 2 3 raised to m plus 1. So as m tends to infinity, the magnitude of this term tends to infinity. So this limit as m tends to infinity, the limit does not exist, that is f is not differentiable at x. So we take x arbitrary and we shown that f is not differentiable. So this function f is nowhere differentiable. Okay, so with this I will wind up this session, and one question for you: is there a differentiable function which is such that whose derivative is nowhere continuous? So question is, does there exist a function which is differentiable everywhere and whose derivative is nowhere continuous? So that you just find it out. If there is such a function, give an example. If you can show that there are no such function, give some proof. And the proof of this example is due to Professor Joel Feldman, the University of British Columbia. Thank you.